This is the Willis Twin Tower Show, right here on the Ballroom Network. We're here to rock and bring you the dirt. Tim and Jeff debating on the screen with the Podfather, although behind the scenes they say the Irish bring luck. All we know is the Packers suck. It's Friday night. Are you ready for the show? Talking about the Bears, Irish music. This thing's about to blow. You've been waiting for this night all week. It's time for the Twins to speak. So sit down in that chair. Let's give it up for the Bears.
Feels like game day, doesn't it?
Teams are all gritty, all hail the Windy City. The Twins on play, and it's time to go Super Saiyan. It's Friday night. Are you ready for the show? Talking about the Bears, Irish music. This thing's about to blow.
What's up, Bears fans? Welcome back to another edition of the Willis Twin Towers podcast. It's been a few weeks since we've been here, guys. We had some stuff going on last couple weeks. Tim had some stuff last week going on. I had some stuff going on the week before, but we're back now. We're going to give up some midseason grades tonight. We want to hear what you guys think about it as well. We want to see what your report cards look like for the team. We're going to break down not just the position groups of the players. We're also going to go through the coaching staff, the front office, even as far as like the athletic training staff and the strength and conditioning staff. So we want to hear you guys' thoughts on that, and we're going to give you guys ours as well. Before we get started here, just a quick reminder, guys, to please, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Tons of great content here at the Bar Room almost every single day of the week. You can find us all on X or Twitter. My handle is @_Jeff Willis. You can find my partner here, Tim Willis. He's @TimWillis24. And our executive producer, Aldo Gandia, is @Barroom Network. So let's get this thing rolling here. Any quick thoughts from the last game that you want to dig into, Tim, before we get started here with these grades? Because it was a pretty crazy game there against Cincinnati. It was one of the craziest games, if not the craziest game I think I've ever seen in my life. So do you have any quick thoughts you wanted to roll with on that? It's been kind of talked about a lot this week, but just any initial things you wanted to get going with before we dig into the grades and whatnot.
No, just the big thing for me was winning a shootout. I mean, when's the last time we've ever seen the Bears do that? It's never happened. I'm sure everyone here by now has heard that statistic that the Bears haven't won in the last 50 contests where they gave up 30 points. So that's huge that the offense is able to put up enough points to still win the game. So I don't know. How's my audio sound, guys? I apologize for wearing these stupid headphones, but my speakers are not working for some reason. So I sound muffled. I can't stand that sound. But anyway, yes, Torian, that's a great point. Special teams was a disaster. And I 100% agree. It's not been good all year. If we're being totally honest, it's been an issue.
We'll grade that for sure. We got some grades on that.
But I'll just say quickly that it was bad. It was really bad this week. Every facet of the kicking game was bad. So the only thing that's really been a bright spot for the special teams unit this year has been Torrey Taylor. He's been outstanding. Outside of that, it's been rough. So, but yeah, I mean, again, the shootout was nice. We saw a lot of trick plays this game. Seeing Darnell Wright run guys over. Speaking of who those guys were, that was Shamar Stewart.
Like the block of the year.
It was the block of the year. Absolutely. And then doing the cartwheel after the touchdown. Talk about a freak athlete. I want to get more into Darnell Wright later. But in any case, what direction were you wanting to head after this? I missed your first point there. My sound was muted.
I just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on the last game. I mean, we're going to talk about the grades, and we'll obviously dig into that. But just initial thoughts on that last game, because like I said, it was one of the craziest, if not the craziest game I've ever seen in my life. And like you said, the shootout aspect, it's just never been done for the Bears. As a matter of fact, I think I saw or heard a statistic. Now, you guys correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if I'm not mistaken, the Bears have never won a game where they gave up 40-plus points. It's the first time they've ever done that. So the fact that they were able to stick around, and here's the thing too, is like, you know, at the end of that game, you're watching it go back and forth. You know, there's the point in time where the Bears got a couple score lead. They've got a chance to put it away. There's the pick six from Tremaine Edmonds that gets called back. And at that point, it's like, you know, they had an opportunity to just, you know, stick their foot on the neck of the Bengals there and win the football game. But things kept happening. It was unraveling defensively for them. Cincinnati got a couple scores, you know, even the game up. And then sure enough, the Bears got the ball back with some time and ended up winning the football game. So it's like, you know, they talk about it all the time. Just keep the game close. If you have an opportunity at the end, go win a game. And look, guys, Caleb has shown it time and time again now. This kid he's just got some mojo in his veins where he's going to go in with if he's got an opportunity late in the game in a crunch time situation, he's going to make it happen. What does he got? Like, I think he's already got like 5 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter overtime so far in his career, which is pretty amazing for a second-year player. So, you know, kudos to him for the fact that he's been able to do that. And also, you know, he's shown a lot of improvement in some other areas too. And again, we'll get into that with the grades. But, yeah, Tim, that you're talking about that block from Darnell Wright. I want to get into him a little bit more as well later. We'll do that with the grades. But, you know, we might as well just kind of start to dig into that a little bit here because, you know, it's probably going to take us some time to get through all these. And I do want to make sure we get through everything. So why don't we just go ahead and start with, I want to get right into like the position groups first. And let's go ahead and start right off with the quarterbacks and Caleb Williams, because, you know, what I think I've seen from him in these last few weeks, especially now, there was a couple weeks there where he didn't play all that well, a couple weeks in a row where he wasn't playing particularly well. And, you know, that being said, we're seeing steady improvement from this kid week in and week out. Now, is it perfect every week? No, it's not. Is he still missing throws? Yes, he is. But at the same time, we're seeing him make a lot of throws and improve a lot throughout the weeks as well with the things he's doing within the pocket. Now, is he playing on time and in structure as much as we'd like him to? Probably not. But one thing that I've seen and noticed, there was a statistic. I can't remember what I saw. I think it was ESPN. I'm not 100% sure on that. But he's one of the better quarterbacks when he's playing within the pocket and in structure. His EPA is extremely high. He's playing very, very well in that regard. So, and I want to say it might not have been ESPN, but I saw it somewhere on Twitter. So I should probably have that reference for you guys, but I don't. But in any case, from what I saw, he's doing really well in those situations when he is playing within structure. So as far as a grade for him, I want to get your thoughts on this too, Tim. But for the quarterbacks, I'm going to give him a solid B. I think he's done a pretty good job as far as improvement-wise. He's not lighting the world on fire yet, but he's made some big throws. He's shown an ability to, again, he's had the game-winning drives to put his team ahead and win some ball games this year. And he had the one against Green Bay last year as well. So he's shown an ability to do that. He is improving. Again, he's not where we want him to be yet, but he's getting better. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give him a solid B for where he's at right now, but I do see the potential for him to continue to get better and better. And I do see his ceiling is still astronomically high. So what do you think, Tim? I think B is pretty fair for him, but I want to know what you think as well.
I may sound a little crazy, but I'm somewhere in between a B plus and an A minus. And the reason that I don't want to go to the A yet is because he has had issues with accuracy. And as far as missing open receivers, I think over the season, we've realized that that's typically on the receiver, not on Caleb. It sounds like, based on what the coaches have said, that he is on it when it comes to the mental part of the game and this offense. He seems to know where everybody is supposed to be. And typically when those misses have happened, it's because the receiver either ran the wrong route, which that doesn't seem to be the biggest case. It's more on the lines of when they have those choice routes, they take a route that's different from what Caleb is seeing. And it sounds like Caleb is seeing it correctly. The receiver is just breaking incorrectly. So that's what we've heard so far. There's been twice now where DJ and Rome were both wide open in a game this season on one of those plays, and Caleb missed it because they ran the wrong route. So it was on the receiver, not on the quarterback. So I do think that part of the game has been solid for him. I also think based on where I would expect him to be in this first year in this offense, and because I'm kind of washing last year out. There was zero development done for Caleb. Everything that he did last year from a positive perspective was all from him. That's just Caleb being Caleb. But he has played in structure this year, which he's never had to do in his career. And I think he's done a really good job of it so far. I mean, there's some things here and there, but he is leading this team on game-winning drives. He is making the plays when they matter. He has been able to use his legs. He has played out of the gun, he's played more play action than he's ever had to do under center this year. So to me, I don't want to give it an A- because I think that would be definitely fanboying it, and I don't want to do that. I don't think that's necessarily fair. But I do think a B+ is fair. Of the rookie quarterbacks from last year's class, the only one that you can say is having a comparable or better season right now is Drake May. Caleb has had a much better. What's that?
That kid's in the MVP conversation right now with the way he's playing.
May's been excellent. May has been excellent. I don't want to take it. And if you recall, Jeff, when that draft happened, who did I say was the best quarterback in that draft?
Well,
no, you could say it.
He's been damn good. He's been a good player. I won't deny that. I mean, he's like I said, he's in an MVP conversation right now for a reason. He's playing excellent football.
Yes,
his team is good. They're 7-2.
Yes, but I think we've squashed a little bit of that narrative about, the Jaden Daniels thing. He's been. Everyone talks about the injury, but he's not played well even outside of the injuries. He's just not seeing things. Kurt Warner did he was on. He wasn't on. It was Twitter. He had posted on Twitter about Jaden Daniels and how he just thinks they're not playing, or he was not playing as well as he did last year. And it doesn't believe it's an injury thing. So I don't know. But again, I think a B+ is a fair grade at this point for Caleb. If you want to blame any of the offensive struggles they've had this season on anybody, you really can't put much of it on Caleb except for those inaccuracies at times, which have improved, by the way.
Well, there's been some issues. Like I said, he hasn't been perfect. He's done a pretty good job as far as the improvements. I mean, he has steadily improved. You haven't seen a whole lot of taking big steps back or anything like that. You do see that some, but that's with any young player. They're always going to take some steps back once in a while. But he is, like I said, for the most part, been steadily growing, improving every week, and showing an ability to where he can be the guy going forward, in my opinion, especially with all these, fourth quarter comebacks and the ability to just drive down the field and keep his team in a football game and go out and win it. So I think a B is a fair grade. I see you gave him a B+, Tim. That's probably pretty fair too. I see most everybody in the chat that's commenting on it is giving him somewhere around a B+, B-. So I think most of us are in agreement it's somewhere around the area, which is fair to him. I think that's good. I think it's a good thing if he's showing that kind of improvement to where everybody is giving him that kind of grade. That's a good grade to have for a second-year player who had a lot of doubters going into the season. So it's fair, and it's a good thing for us, I think. So let's move on. I want to dig into the offensive line a little bit here because we were talking about Darnell Wright earlier, and I think he's one of the guys that's been a serious bright spot on this line. His growth has been tremendous, in my opinion. He's really gone from being, especially from the past couple years, even early in the season, he's showed some inconsistencies, but he has really, the last few weeks especially, he's been on one, just on a roll, playing excellent football. Like you said, driving Shamar Stewart totally off the ball last week in that Bengals game. I mean, putting him on his ass, 5, 6, 7 yards down the field. Not any matter of fact, you knocked DJ Moore out of the play. Probably damn near injured DJ on that play because he knocked him over. But, I mean, it was just an excellent block. What a great play. And there was guys, we have former offensive linemen all over Twitter who talk about offensive line play a lot. Guys I can think of, Mitchell Schwartz and Jeff Schwartz, the brothers, who both played in the NFL. They're guys who talk about offensive line play all the time. Trying to think of some other ones that are on. AQ Shipley's another guy who talks about offensive line play all the time. But I remember Jeff Schwartz specifically mentioned that it was probably the block of the year and the best block he's seen all season, watching Darnell drive Shamar Stewart off the ball like that. So as far as the overall grade for this line, if you'd have asked me earlier in the season, I probably wouldn't have been so high. But the way this unit has come together, the way they're run blocking, especially, they have opened up such big holes for the running backs to get through before even getting to contact. It's been excellent. The run blocking is fantastic. The pass blocking has been very good also. There's been some issues there. Theo is not the best pass blocker, but he's been a very good run blocker at left tackle. He's been an improvement over Braxton, that's for sure. So for an offensive line grade overall, I'm going to give him an A-. I think they've done a really good job this year to this point as far as both protecting Caleb and opening up run lanes for the run game. The Bears are second in the league right now in rush offense. So that is a huge deal. And I would not have expected that to be the case with the way they were running the ball early in the season. So again, kudos to the offensive line for the way they've come together and brought some stability and some high level play to our offense there. So what do you think, Tim? I think, like I said, I think A- is a suitable grade for them.
Oh, sorry.
You're right.
I'm giving him an A. I'm beating myself up over here. I give the offensive line an A personally. And I think in totality, this unit has been one of the better units in football as of now. They've been very, very good. And I don't want to give individual grades for every position group, but I do want to do it for the offensive line because I think it does matter with this group. And I'll tell you, this is why I give them an A in totality. If you would have asked me when Braxton Jones was on the line, I would have told you he was a D- or a D. But Theo Benedict, I think, has been C+, maybe B- range. He's been pretty good. He's been pretty effective over there.
Like I said, excellent run blocker.
Yes.
Not so good in the pass pro game,
right.
But the run blocking has been really good. Really good.
It's a lot of that's that arm length. He does not have the arm length really to play the position, but he is very, very strong.
Ryan Baldinger, I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to this. He was on, I want to say it was 670. He does interviews on there every once in a while. And he was talking about Theo Benedict and the fact that, he's such an athletic guy that even when he's like getting out of position and losing on a rep, he somehow finds a way to like make it work and not get beat so bad. Yeah. So it's like his athleticism is something that allows him to stay engaged and, not get beat so bad when, most guys normally probably would. So that's one thing, that's been a bright spot for him is that overall athleticism is really keeping him in a good spot. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. He has probably been a little bit above average. I'm probably being but I wanted to be fair. Joe Tooney's been an A+. He's been fantastic. He has been very, very good over there. I don't think he's even given up a pressure this year yet. He's been that good.
Well, he has, but
maybe he has. Definitely hasn't given up. I don't think I'm almost positive he's not given up any sacks for sure. Drew Dahlman has kind of been, this is one that I think disappointing is not the right word because he's been pretty good, but I'm going to give him a B-. But, when they signed him, that was everybody's savior because that's what they wanted was a center. But, Dahlman he wasn't one of the best 3 or 4 centers in the league. He was somewhere in that bottom top 10 range, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there, maybe a little further down the line. He was solid, but not like a world beater. So I think he is playing right, kind of where we expected him to be. Jonah Jackson over the last few weeks has been an absolute dog. So I'm going to give him a C+ just because his first couple weeks, I'll give him a B- because his last few weeks his first few weeks, I would have put him in that D range. He was bad. He was really bad those first few weeks, but he has been an animal the last couple of weeks. So I will bring his grade up. And then Darnell Wright, if I could give an A++, I would. Right now, he is the best right tackle in the league this year. He is the best one. He has been phenomenal this year at that position.
Well, I'll say this. The way he's been playing the last few weeks, if he's not a Pro Bowler right now, he's got to be on his way because
he's an all-pro right now, not just a Pro Bowler. He is an all-pro.
He's got a lot of, you're talking about Penny Sewell being there. He's one of, Lane Johnson for the Eagles.
Yeah, but I think Wright's played better than both of them this year.
He's been playing excellent ball, though. I do think he's a Pro Bowl caliber player right now. I think he's right there in the conversation with those guys. And I agree more with J2K than I did with what you said about Dahlman. I think he started slow, but so did the whole unit. It wasn't until after the bye that they were really starting to play together. Dahlman's been playing really well lately. Yes. I think he's been an excellent player as of late. Really, that interior three and Darnell Wright, the right side, the four on the right sideline, even Theo in the run game has been really good. But those guys on the right side have been excellent. And Joe Tooney as well. The guy's just been such a stability force on that line. All of them, all four of those guys have been really, really good, especially the last few weeks. And again, Theo is another guy who's doing his job. So he gets beaten pass pro once in a while, and that's going to happen. I don't think he's the long-term answer at the position, but he's getting the job done right now, and that's all you can ask for. So I'm happy with that. Cliff, I think Darnell is due for an extension after this season. He's eligible for it after this year. I think he's absolutely going to get it. It would be – you'd have to fill another hole if you didn't try to extend him now, and there's no reason not to. He's been so good. J2K says Jonah Jackson gets a lot of heat, but he's a very good run blocker. He's just been excellent the last few weeks in general, like Tim said. I think he's been playing very, very, very well. So I just think at this point that these guys they're playing so well cohesively that it's just what you want. And look, J2K, I see what you're saying about the 5th-year option on Darnell, but I wouldn't even let it get to that point. Extend the guy after he's eligible. Make it, why wait to that point when you can get him now? He's playing good football, and you don't have to worry about it down the line. You got this guy as a part of your team in the future. That to me, you don't wait. When you got a guy that you want to extend, when he's eligible to extend, you just do it. You just extend the guy. They did it with Kyler Gordon, and I think they'll do the same thing now with Wright too. So in any case, I know he's under contract next year, but still, you just get it done when you can, in my opinion. That's just my personal preference on that. So, any case, moving along, we talked about the offensive line there. Let's talk a little bit about the running backs, because this is another one where I thought starting off early in the season, we probably would not have had the same grade here, obviously. But just the fact that you have two guys who in the last couple of weeks, especially Monangai here, the way he played last week against Cincinnati, and DeAndre Swift, the way he's come along the last few weeks as well. Obviously, he was hurt last week, but they're really playing some high-level ball now. And there was a lot of people who wanted them to go get some running back help for both in the offseason and throughout most of the season to this point. So a lot of those people have quieted it down a little bit because of how well these two guys have played alongside each other. I still think that there's people out there who would want them to go get a back, and I wouldn't hate it. I still think that I don't think it's necessarily something you got to go do now in the off season, but you could. I just think that, like I said, the way Monangai's playing right now and Swift, they're such a good tandem. The way they play off each other, I think you could continue with these guys in the future if you wanted to, especially with the way the offensive line's playing. So, as far as a running back grade, I'm going to about the same thing. I'm going to give these guys a B- because, again, early in the season, it wasn't so hot. The last couple weeks, they've really come along. Monangai especially has been so good. Last week, he was just absolutely excellent. He runs so hard. Some of those cuts he was making were just like, and the way he was getting through tackles too. It's like DeAndre Swift is not doing that. He's not getting through some of those tackles. And he's just such a hard runner. He runs with purpose. I love seeing that kind of thing. So he's a long-term piece to this team. The fact they got this guy in the 7th round is such a steal in such a deep class. So I love it. There was a lot of people who wanted to take a running back earlier than that. I was one of those people, but I'm happy with what they've got on them guys so far. So I give the overall grade for the room a B-. What are your thoughts, Tim?
Well, I would give the running game in general an A. but I will give the running backs a B+. I think they have both been pretty solid. I think that with Ben Johnson's scheme and his play calling and with this offensive line, if you plug in, some of these other backs, we're talking about an A+ running back room. I just think that Swift has been very good for what he is, and Monangai is, in my opinion, outperforming where I thought he would be. I think he is a very hard runner and he's a good player, but I never expected him to be the type of player who was going to have big explosive runs. I view him more as that power guy that is, if you need the tough yards, he's going to get them for you. And he just ran all over that defense last week. Now, granted, that is what I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Cincinnati is the worst run defense in football, and it's not close. They are awful. But with that said, this is still the NFL, and that run game was very good last week, even without their number one back. So I don't want to say that they're an A because I don't think the running back room is of that caliber, but I do think that, they're playing at a B+ level right now. I really do. And the offensive line in the run game is like A++++. This run game, the run blocking on the offensive line is absolutely fantastic. It is such a good run blocking scheme and run blocking offensive line. But let's go into the receivers, Jeff. So this one's tough for me because as far as potential, this wider, not even just potential, but what this receiver room should be is one of the better groups in football. I would put this group right there under Jamar Chase, T. Higgins for the Bengals. Like, this is a really, really good group, especially if we can see Luther Burden ascend where we think he should be. But DJ Moore and Rome Odunze are two of the best receivers in football already at this time. So this group should be very good. But of the offensive positions, I think the wide receiver room has underperformed the most probably of any of those position groups. And the reason is J2K makes the comment right here. Rome is great, but the drops are a huge issue. And yeah, this is something that we have not seen from Rome Odunze last year. And this is not something that he was known for in college. He was sure-handed. And for whatever reason this year, it's not that he's like dropping balls that he should absolutely catch, but he's dropping those balls that this is what you brought him in for, was to make these plays. And some of them are just dots on the money from Caleb. They're tough plays, absolutely, but they're balls that Rome should catch all day long. That is what he is known for. And it's hard to gauge where he's at right now because of the drops. Now, I think J2K says that he doesn't view him as a top 10 right now because of the drops. And I think if he eliminated those drops, he is 100% top 10 receiver. So those have got to get better. DJ, I think DJ has played really, really well. And I think that it's just been difficult to get him involved. Last week, you could tell, last 2 weeks, they have made a concerted effort to get him going. And last week, they really got him going. But the problem is, I don't see the chemistry right now. And I think that we've heard this from a lot of people. A lot of people feel the same way. I don't see the chemistry between him and Caleb, especially not like he had with Justin. So until their chemistry improves, I think that DJ is going to be a step behind where he should be. And I also think that he is doing everything he's asked, and he's being a great worker. Ben talked about him this morning in the press conference, talking about how well DJ Moore has done or been for this team, and how much he likes him, and how great of a player he is, and all of these things, leader, all of it. But until that connection gets better, and I believe until he gets a better grasp of this offense, because he has made some mistakes on his routes. And I mentioned this earlier, and it's he and Rome both. So for that reason, I think DJ Moore is an A player, but he's playing at more of a B+ level because of that. So for this wide receiver room, I think I'm going to give them a B- at this point, truly, because again, I believe this is an A+ group, but they're not playing to that caliber right now. So I've got to be fair about it, and I'm gonna say they're a B-.
I think that's even being a little nice if I'm being real. Look, I mean, the biggest thing is I agree with that 100%. J2K, you nailed it with the drops with Rome. I mean, you're talking about a guy who I think he's got like 36 catches right now, and he should have a lot more than that. And PZ mentions the ball placement with some of those drops. Yeah, you can make an argument for that. I agree with that. There's been several throws that Caleb made to Rome where the ball it hit him in the hands. They weren't the best of throws. But in those particular cases, should the ball have been thrown a little bit better? Yes, I won't disagree with that. But Rome's got to catch those balls. He has to catch them. If you want to be a top receiver in this league, you catch balls that hit you in the hands. I don't care where the fuck they are, how perfectly thrown they are or not. If it hits you in the hands, you catch the damn ball. There was one, I cannot remember the exact game now. There was one a few weeks back, where he caught a ball literally in the end zone, hit him in the hands, and he dropped it. It's like, there was a defender right there too, but it's like J2K mentions this. He's got to get his hands out extended and catch the ball. When you're catching a ball like this, you're not gonna make a whole lot of plays when guys are getting their hands in there. You got to get your hands out there extended and pull the ball away. You got to catch that ball away from the defender. So that's one thing that has to have some work too. I agree on that. It's something, again, if you're going to be a big time receiver in this league, you got to make those plays. What are you going to say?
It's also a snatch thing. He tends to have his hands out there as the ball's coming, and then the defender is able to get in there and put a hand on the ball. And it's not that Rome has had true drops in the essence that the ball is hitting him in the hands and he's just dropping it. He's not catching the ball strong through contact, and therefore he's dropping the ball. Now, there's been a few that have been thrown like on the boundary on the sideline that Caleb has just rifled right into his chest, or going out of bounds. He's put it on his hands and he's not coming down with those balls either. It's almost as if defenders or the ground, he's not able to catch strong through those two positions. So to me, it's a strength thing. It's not that Rome's not strong enough to make those catches. He's just not catching them strong. It's kind of like I don't know if any of you guys have played baseball, but if you play the first base position, okay, a lot of times when kids are playing, they tend to let the ball take their hands back. They don't catch the ball out. They let the ball dictate where their hand goes. And as a first baseman, it's incredibly important to catch the ball strong out here. Don't let that ball pull you back, because that's when you risk dropping the ball or rotating your hand over or whatever. They want you to catch that ball strong. And it's the same thing here. That's the same concept. If if a first baseman catches the ball out and they let the ball take their hands back, they're a lot weaker. Same thing here with Rome. If he catches that ball out here strong, instead of letting that ball come back, which is what it looks like he's doing, he'll secure the ball. But now, I'm not a wide receiver coach. I am the last person to try to give Rome Odunze any advice on how to play wide receiver in the NFL, because that would be an absolute joke, and I would never do that. But at the same time, that is what is visible to me watching him play. So if that gets cleaned up, it's a totally different player. But again, I don't know. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know what you're seeing with it. I just don't. I want to be fair, because I think Rome is a great receiver. But again, that has to improve. It has to. Yeah, I'm just like I haven't given my grade yet, but it's kind of where I was leaning. Was like I said, I think you're being almost a little nice with the B-. I think I'm going to give him a C+. And it's here's the thing: is like, as far as the run blocking is concerned, these guys have been really good. I mean, especially last week in the Cincinnati game, the Bears put out a little clip. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, of Rome.
doing some blocking and picking up some nice blocks throughout the game. He was doing a really good job getting guys. And matter of fact, there was a tight end after the game from Cincinnati who told him he was a big fan of his game and the way he did that. So, but as far as the overall production, there's when your leading receiver has 36 catches, it's not great. And really, none of these guys are doing all that well. Zacchaeus is like right there with him. So I'm going to give them a C+, but they're playing better, and I expect them to continue to improve as the season moves along. So we're going to pick this up a little bit because we want to get through everything here. So let's move along. Let's get to the tight ends real quick. As far as these guys are concerned, injuries have kind of bit them a little bit. Loveland was hurt a little bit early in the season. Cole's been hurt the last few weeks, had some injury issues with himself. But these guys have played pretty good ball. They've done a good job in the blocking department. Colston had the game winner, last week. I think I'm going to give them a solid B also. They've done a good job as far as, like I said, the blocking department, which is the biggest deal, the run blocking department. And they've been pretty productive in the pass game as well. Cole had some drops early in the season as well, but he's also been pretty good as of late. And like I said, the game-winning touchdown from Colston last week, that's why you drafted the guy in the first round. So now that that's been shown that he can do that kind of thing, I think he's going to start to be more of a factor as the season winds along. So I'm going to give them a B and expect to see them, again, continue to improve and get better.
This is where you and I differ. I'm giving them a C+. And the reason is, I think if you look at the season in totality, Colston Loveland was almost non-existent early on. Part of that is learning the offense and being a rookie and all of those things. But Cole Kmet has not been Cole Kmet this year. Now, blocking, they've both been good. Of course, Cole's been fantastic in that regard. But as a receiver, he's made like a lot of like boneheaded pre-snap penalties, which that is not like Cole to be that guy. He's usually the one that's on it, and he's on other guys for that. So I just think that he is, I don't know if there's something going on with him injury-wise or what, but he has not been the same guy. And as a receiver, he's just not been as reliable. And that game he had, what was that? Detroit? Was that the Detroit game he was really bad in?
That was a few weeks ago against I can't remember now, but it was bad.
Regardless, it doesn't matter. He had at least 3 drops in that game. Those were like actual drops, not balls getting forced out. He dropped them, and that's not like him. So to be fair, I think they're a C+ at best right now. Although Loveland has looked really well as a receiver lately, it's one game. I don't want to give it too much stock yet. But this tight end room is one of the better in football too. They've got to show it, though. They do.
Yeah, like I said, the two of them together, the way they played, like I said, the blocking aspect is the biggest part of my grade. They've done a good job in that department. And Loveland, especially the last few weeks, has really come along as a blocker. He's looked pretty damn good. So
yeah, he has. And like I said, the blocking has been excellent. Like even Cole has been he's so good in that regard.
Yeah, I'm going to give our tight ends a B, mostly because of that. Their blocking has been so good. So let's move along now to the defense. Let's start with the defensive line. This is where I have my biggest issue with the team right now. As well as Sweat has played the last few weeks, we have not gotten anywhere near enough out of the defensive line. I'm going to give them a C-. I mean, there's a very, very little pass rush. They've had issues as far as stopping a run a lot this season. I was really hoping they would do more at the trade deadline as far as getting another body in there. They did bring in that Joe Tryon Shoyinka. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Shoyinka.
He was a former first-round draft pick, not much of a pass rusher, but he's a guy who is going to be a rotational guy for them. And I think that's what they were looking for more or less right now. So I'm excited to see what he does because we do need something in there, but I'm not expecting him to do a ton. I think they just needed another body so they're not stuck with putting Austin Booker in on base downs all the time. This is a guy who can stop the run. So I expect to see him in there a lot on early downs, especially with Dio being gone. But I got to see more out of the defensive line.
I'm giving him a D+. And the reason is, outside of Montez Sweat, this group has performed in an F. Interior, outside, they've been awful. Like, the pass rush has been really bad. There's no question, but even the run defense has not been good from that side of or from that position group. Interior defensive line has been abysmal, like abysmal. We've seen Dexter at times look pretty good, and then just maybe so average. Grady Jarrett, when he's actually been out there, has not been very good at all. It's just, and Billings, good against the run, not so much anything else right now. And again, outside of Sweat, they've done nothing on the defensive line. Sweat has been really good, but he's only gotten home a couple of times. But he is creating havoc back there. But they've got to do more than what we're seeing right now. In my opinion, right now, that is probably the worst performing position group on this team is that defensive line. And the biggest reason is because the interior is getting zero pressure up front at all. And it's not even so much just getting pressure. It's creating havoc to give your edge rushers a chance. They're not doing that. So it's bad. I'm giving them a D+.
Yeah, but like I said, it hasn't been great. So, I mean, I'm not real happy with what they've done either. I mean, like I said, I've been clamoring for these guys to draft an edge for the last 3 years now in the first round, and they haven't. So, I mean, we are where we are right now. Hopefully, they're going to start making some investments there. But let's move along to linebacker core. This is a position group where I think we've actually had some pretty good play, all things considered, because there's been some injuries here with TJ Edwards. He's been hurt quite a bit. He's going to be out again this week now. He's got that broken hand. He's also kind of still dealing with that hamstring that's been bothering him since early in the season. So, but as far as the linebackers are concerned, Tremaine Edmonds has been playing really, really excellent football this year. We've all been hoping for that. We've all been wanting that. This is a guy that's paid a lot of money. So again, I thought early in the season, before the season even started, that Dennis Allen was going to unlock something out of this guy. And sure enough, he's been playing such good football. The way he's attacking the run is the most impressive thing to me, because that's something we all wanted to see him do more. We all know he can cover well. We all know he's a big body with length in the middle of the field to defend the pass. But the way he's been attacking the run game and getting downhill and making tackles has been really nice to see. I think he might be the team's leading tackler right now, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, great to see that from Edmonds. The way they're using him, I think he's been playing the will for the most part. It's been really good. So I'm going to go ahead and give these guys a B+, the way they've played. Even, Sewell in his time when he's played has been pretty good. So
very good.
I like what these guys are doing. They really do. I'm going to give them a B+.
I'm glad you mentioned Noah Sewell, because he was going to be part of my conversation as well. I'm giving him an A. I think this linebacker group has been very, very good this year. For a guy that I have been very critical of in the last few years in Tremaine Edmonds, he has stepped up mightily and been one of the better parts of our defense this year. He's been maybe even our defensive MVP. He's been that good this year. He's been excellent.
Very good.
And when TJ Edwards is out there, it's a different defense. It just is. Yeah. It's a much better defense. And you mentioned Noah Sewell. In his time where he was filling in, he's been very solid, very solid. And it makes you wonder, what did Flus not see in this guy? Because he's a solid linebacker football player. So I'm giving this defense an A. I think they have been, in my opinion, the bright spot of the defense this season, for sure. And that's going to bring us to the secondary. Let's do it by position group. I think we have enough time here. Let's start with corner. And the reason I want to start with corner is I'm giving this group a B+. And the reason I do that is because they are so depleted with injury right now. They're on their 6th, 7th, 8th string guys right now. I mean, they didn't even have the top 5 strings this week. They've been out Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson. Their backup for them, Nashawn Wright, Kyler Gordon. They're in deep, deep water right now. And with all the things considered, they have played pretty well. Yeah, they gave up some big plays this week, but you're talking 2 of the best receivers in football. They are the best receiver tandem in the game. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Of 2 players on one team, they are the best tandem. I would compare it to Julio Jones and Roddy White in their early years. They were very, very good. I would compare it to Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens that time they played together. So that's a very good receiver room. And they've held up for the most part. I mean, they really have. It's kind of hard to really say much about them. They've been solid. And granted, I don't expect them to go out there and be world beaters. And I do expect them to take some licks. But again, they've held up for the most part. So that's been a pleasant surprise.
I'm gonna give them a little worse. I'm gonna give them a B minus just because I'm gonna be a little more objective about it. If you want to look at it from the lens of like, yeah, they've been depleted by a lot of injuries, and these guys have been, I guess, heroic, as for lack of a better word, in the way they've stepped up and played. Yeah, I agree with that. They've done a good job in the fact that they've come in and done their job. But as far as objective overall play, they've gotten beat a lot. I mean, we've had some issues with explosive plays in the secondary for a while now. And, Tyreek Stevenson has been pretty good throughout points of the season. He was not very good against Cincinnati. And again, Jalen Johnson's been out all year, as you mentioned. Terrell Smith, who was their number 3 corner, has been out all season. He was out early in this, like before the season even started. So we're having some issues. And again, 42 points, like Cliff says here, we're scoring that game against Cincinnati, 52 against the Lions. Hey, that's explosive play city there, guys. I mean, there's something to be said about the secondary getting beat when that kind of stuff is going on. And again, the pass rush is a big part of that too, which is why I didn't give them a very good grade either. So I would say that the corners, the overall play has been pretty decent, all things considered. But I would say a B minus is relatively fair, all things considered. But that's what I would say with where they're at. So shifting into safety play, though, this is where it's a little bit different. I think the safeties have been pretty damn good. Yeah. I'm going to give them an A minus because Brisker kind of has his issues in coverage, but where he has issues in coverage, he's very good as a box safety. And Kevin Byard has been absolutely outstanding this season. Yeah. I mean, outstanding player. I think if you're talking about defensive MVP, mentioned earlier, like a young kid again, the way he's been playing ball. He's back in his young days with the way he's been ball hawking. So he's been playing so well. The safeties, I'm going to give him an A minus, like I said, because of how well they've played together as a total cohesive unit between the two of them. Brisker's been healthy, which is the biggest thing for him. So they've played really well between the two of them, and they have kept them from having too many terrible explosive plays beat them with the back end of the defense. So again, Byard has been a big part of that with a ton of interceptions at this point. I think he's got 4 or 5 of them right now. So that's been a big help for them. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, we're going to agree on this one. I give them an A minus as well. And the reason is because I give Byard an A and I give Brisker a B plus. So I'm going to meet in the middle there. I think that Byard is playing at a level we certainly haven't seen him play here in Chicago, but he looks like Kevin Byard from Tennessee right now. He looks like that ball hawking safety that we've been hoping for. He looks like peak Eddie Jackson. That's what he reminds me of right now. He's not the greatest in coverage and like thumping guys in that regard, like a Brisker would be. But what he lacks for in that, he is a ball hawk, and he's able to he reads the quarterback's eyes so well. He jumps routes so well. It kind of reminds me of Peanut Tillman a little bit in that regard, how he just sees it and goes after it. I'm not saying that he is Peanut Tillman, but at the same time, like he's been really good at this in his career. So I think Brisker has struggled a little bit at times in coverage, like you mentioned, but he is so good in the box. Like it's one of those guys where I don't want to go up against him in there. Like I just wouldn't want to. And the way he plays hard all the time, and cross our fingers, he's been healthy. So I agree that position is an A minus right now. Let's just I don't want to do special teams, strictly just special teams. So let's go kicking game, the 2 kickers, kicker and punter, and then special teams, the rest of special teams in its own category, or it's as a whole. And the reason I want to do that is let's not. Let's just do that. Kicker punter, I'm giving it a B plus. And I give it a B plus because Torrey Taylor has been excellent this year. He is an A. He has been great. As a matter of fact, he is about the one positive right now for this special teams unit. He has been really, really good. You know, it's one of those things where we spent that 4th round pick on this guy last year for a punter. It better be worth it. And he's starting to show why he was worth it. He's been very, very good. And as far as kicking goes, I struggle with this one. I really do. And it's because Cairo is so accurate. He is so accurate. It's one of those things where if it's anything inside of like 53 yards, no question in my mind, he's nailing that kick. He's not going to miss. But anything over 53, anything that I think is going to challenge his leg strength, or even in the 50s, even the low 50s, just because he has to kick with such a low trajectory, I don't trust it. And it makes it really hard. And it's like, do you go with the guy that you know has the massive leg, but the accuracy is just not going to be there? Or do you go with the guy who is as accurate as they come? Like, he doesn't miss, but you can't kick those big field goals. He just doesn't have the leg for it. And I think I lean on the play it safe side. And I want the guy that if the game's on the line and I got to kick a 43-yard field goal, I'm sending Cairo out there and I know he's going to nail that kick and I don't have to have any worry in my mind. So it's a slippery slope. This is an argument that's going to continue to be had as long as we have both of these kickers on the roster, between the roster, the active and the practice squad. I just think we're never going to get away from this argument until that happens. And even if they cut Moody at some point or somebody else signs him, we're still going to hear about it from everybody that we need to cut Cairo and go get a kicker with a big leg. So
well, I'm going to answer this quickly because we got a couple more grades to give up before we get out of here. Yep. So I'm going to, as far as the kicker and punter, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give him a B plus. Taylor's been good. Santos has been very good. Excuse me. The biggest thing with him, as you said, is his leg. You can't trust him to kick the big field goals, the long field goals, and that is going to come back to bite the Bears at some point if it hasn't already. So that's the one glaring problem they have with the kicking game. The coverage units have been absolutely dog wash all season long. They've been horrible. I mean, hog wash is the word, not dog wash. I'm sorry, but they've just not been good. I mean, they've had some games where they made some big plays, but at the same time, it's like they just gave up an onside kick last week. They've had issues tackling on the coverage units all season long. It's just been bad. It's been poor. I've told you guys this before in the past. I don't expect Hightower to be back next season. That would absolutely shock me if he was. I think they'll move on from him. So we'll have to wait and see. But as far as the coverage units, I'm giving them a D. The kickers B plus, kickers and punters B plus, coverage units a D.
I'm giving them an F. I'm giving them an F. They have been awful. This is the worst coverage team that we've seen from the Bears special teams in a long time. It is bad. There is not a time that I'm watching a game and I'm not worried that whether it's kick return or punt return, whoever is getting the ball is going to pick up 15 to 25 yards every time they touch the ball. And I'm even on kickoff, I'm talking like if they're catching the ball at the 5-yard line, I'm worried that they're going to pick up 25 yards, if not more. I'm worried that every team is going to start in plus territory, and that scares me. So and here's a good one. PZ says coverage units equal AWOL, and 100%.
They really have been.
They have been AWOL, and it's like in our return game itself has not been very good. We brought Devin Duvernay in, this Pro Bowl returner, and has he been terrible? No. I mean, he's had some pretty big returns, but it's just not consistent. We're not starting off with good field position from our return game, and we're giving up bad field position from our coverage team. So, honestly, I'm with you. I think they're going to have to move on from Richard Hightower this year because it's been so bad. It's really not been good. The only thing holding it together is that kicking game.
Yeah, I agree. So let's move on here. We kind of got through the players there. I do want to knock into some of the staff a little bit here. First and foremost, let's start with, and this is where I see the biggest glaring issues with this team right now, is the strength and conditioning and training staff. More so the training staff than the strength and conditioning, but I'm giving these guys an F because, I mean, look at the injury list every week to realize, to look, I should say, look no further than the injury list every week to see where this team is as far as their training staff is. And this has been the case for like 2 or 3 years now. I mean, we've had issues for a while now with keeping guys healthy, and this cannot be the case with every single team in the league. So they need an overhaul, in my opinion, there with the training staff. I mean, they've just, again, they have had so many issues with keeping guys healthy. Some of their best players can't stay on the field, and it's been a real problem this year. Their top corner hasn't played hardly at all. So, and it's not just been him. There's been tons of injuries all season long. So we were talking about the cornerback room earlier. They're barely held together right now because of all the injuries there. So I'm giving that group an F.
Can I give them an F minus? Is that possible? I mean,
No,
it's the entire roster has been injured. And when I was on Bare Their Souls last week, I had a little bit of an argument on this subject with Zim. And he seems to think that it's just the Bears' turn to go through this serious injury bug that some teams deal with every year. There's always a team. But to me,
feels like year in and year out to me.
Bingo. To me, this is not a just this year thing. This has been a frequent and a reoccurring problem for the last several years. It's all of these. It's shoulder, knee, and soft tissue. Many soft tissue injuries.
Tons of soft tissue.
And another point he was making to me was that some of the players that are having these injuries are repeat offenders. And to me, it's go back to their college play. Were they injured often in college? And if the answer is no, then how can we say it's the player? At some point, maybe it's because we drafted these players and this strength and conditioning staff has had them this entire time, and they're not getting these guys ready to physically play. There is something off. Maybe it's in the food. I mean, they've complained about the food for years.
I think that's
maybe it's something in the food. Yeah, nutrition and other things.
And Dan, you got a good point here, Dan. The CBA league wide I think that is kind of a problem. They're not giving these guys enough time to practice, and it's a part of that problem. But yes, the staff, every staff is working with the same shit league wide. Yep. Okay, so if other teams aren't having the same kind of issues as the Bears are, that's an internal problem they've got to correct one way or the other. J2K says Ben Johnson said the players' habits weren't championship caliber when he got here, and someone had made the point to him that he thought Ben was calling out the players over the trainers. That could be possible, but we're still seeing the injury list every week is getting longer. So, again, I just think it's a problem. They got to get this thing figured out. I don't think that staff's going to be around next year.
I hope not.
So moving on, let's get into the coaching before we finish this thing off. Starting with the special teams, we'll make this quick since we already dug into it. They're a D to me. The coordinators, the role that Hightower has done with this team as far as the special teams. And J2K made a point earlier that maybe the depleted corner room has something to do with it, but it's like you got to be able to make adjustments in this league, and their coverage has been so piss poor that I just don't see a way that he's going to be back next year. He's not done a very good job, in my opinion, this year. No. So I give him a D.
I give him a D minus compared to what he's been in years past. And it's coaching. It looks like coaching to me, the reason that they're struggling the way they are. It's like he is not as prepared. I think part of it, and this is just me speculating, it's there was this moxie and this attitude and what Ben Johnson has brought to the table so far is somebody who is on it all the time, and he's going to be on you when you're not. And I think that Hightower has a little nerves right now that, I've got to be on it every single day in every single game, or else my job's going to be on the line. And I think he's just coaching nervous right now, coaching scared a little bit instead of being aggressive. And I think that's a big part of what's going on there. Defensive coordinator. I'm going to give, this is where it's tough because as far as the defense that he has coached and the scheme that he has put these guys in and how exotic he has been, I want to give him an A, but the defense has not played at that A caliber right now. So I'm going to give him a B+. I want to be fair. I think Dennis Allen has outcoached what this team should be right now. I think if this was Matt Eberflus, this team is giving up 40 points a week. But because we have this incredible defensive coordinator, they're holding their own. So I'm going to give it a B+.
I'm going to give the defensive staff as a whole a B-. And I agree with what you're saying. I think they've done a good job schematically getting these guys in good position to have success. But again, it's like some of these guys just have not developed the way you want to see them develop. I mean, you paid Dio Dengwa $16 million. You think he'd come in and have a big time role on your defense and play a little bit better than he has. So I can't say that I'm going to give them anything higher than that at this point, because again, like you said, Tim, the defense has not played that well. So as much as I like Dennis Allen, I think he's doing a good job. They have not done enough as far as a whole unit to warrant a better grade than a B- to me. So now the offensive staff, on the other hand, the way they've played, the way they've improved, and the way that they've gone a total 180 from what we've seen in the past, this Bears team, to where they are now, they are absolutely an A. I'm giving the offensive staff an A for everything they've done. The way the offensive line has come together and played. Dan Roshar has done an excellent job with that room. Eric Bieniemy has done a great job in the running backs room. Antoine Randall L has done a great job in the receivers room. These guys all have great coaching. And from what we've seen with Ben Johnson, the way he's been so creative with his scheme, the way that he's continued to get guys open. Every single year and every single game in the past, I've always had issues where I'm like, I don't understand why they're doing this. I don't get that play call. Why are we running the ball here? Why are we throwing the ball here? Why are we doing this or that or the other thing? And I don't ask myself these questions anymore when I'm watching Bears games, because I'm happy with the play calling. And I think most of you guys would agree with that. Johnson has done such a good job with both his play design and his play calling, and understanding when to call certain things in games, looking for the right coverages to attack defenses. The guy is so much better than anything we've seen in the past from an offensive standpoint. You can't give him anything other than an A. I don't see how you could, in my personal opinion. So I give him an A. What do you think, Tim? I mean, it's just they've done such a good job.
It's 100% an A. And it's not even just these guys all had pedigree before they were brought in here. So we know that they've got a history of great coaching. But seeing it come together with this Bears team, the Chicago Bears have a top 4 offense in the NFL? What? When has that ever happened in our lifetime? Maybe, when Mike Martz is supposed to bring the greatest show on turf to Chicago, and it was okay at first and never really panned out after that. We had that one really good year with guy that John Fox brought with him from Denver.
Gase.
Get Adam Gase. We were really good for that 1 year. And at times we were good with Trestman that first year. But since when have we seen an offense that has been able to put up 30 plus a game consistently? It's not happened. And that is 100% coaching, because the offensive players are not that different from what they were last year. We had some additions this year, of course, but a lot of that's rookies. It's not so many veterans. It's pretty much the same veteran group that we had last year. It is the coaching. It's 100% coaching. So I give the offensive coaching staff an A. And for a head coach, the Ben Johnson, who should be memorialized in the Saturday Night Live skit, dipping his head in the au jus in the he is an A+++ as a head coach. This guy, I don't care if it's his first year. I don't care that he's not won anything yet. This is exactly the guy that Chicago needed. They needed Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson did not need the Bears, but the Bears needed this guy. And he has turned this organization completely around. They have made a 180 as an organization, not just the football team on the field. Organizationally, they have changed since he has been there. And I know we've seen some changes ever since Kevin Warren came into the building. But even since Ben Johnson has walked in the door, this is different. It is different than we've ever seen. And this guy who was number one, when have we ever gotten the top candidate in a coaching cycle before? It's not happened. They usually don't want to come here. But we got the number one guy. And for good reason, he was considered the number one guy. And the biggest question mark that everybody has whenever you hire a head coach is, yeah, he's got the pedigree as far as coordinating goes. This guy has had one of the best offenses in football for years. How can he coach? How is he as a leader of men? How is he with finding a staff? How is he with all of these things? How is he at bringing that winning culture and that winning attitude? And how is he with the players? Will he hold them to account? He has been everything that has been advertised, everything that we have hoped for. He has been that guy. And when Ben Johnson brings us a Super Bowl, he will be memorialized with the Mike Ditkas and the George Hallases. He will be on that tree as the greatest coach in Bears history.
He is an impressive guy, man. He really is. He's such an impressive guy to be around, or just, I mean, to see the way he communicates with the media, the way he coaches on the field. The sky is the limit for his team. I can't wait to see what they do. But as far as an overall midseason grade, let's give this out before we roll out of here because we're out of time. But I'm going to give the team as an overall grade, I'm going to give them a B- for where they're at right now. There's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of inconsistencies. They've never put a full game together, all three units, and that's why I can't give them a better overall grade than a B-. But once they do get it all together, guys, we're looking at a playoff team here. We're missing a couple pieces, but we are damn close. We are damn close to being right where we want them to be. So, again, I give them a B- for where they're at right now. I expect that to continue to rise as the season goes along. They only have to finish with a 4-5 record the rest of the way to win 9 games, guys, and to have a over 500 record. So that's where I'm at with them. I see them as a B- for where they're at right now, but I do see them getting better.
I think if the season ended today, if I'm not mistaken, the Bears would be a playoff team. So I have a hard time not giving. Huh?
They'd be just out of it. I think
just
they're
out of it. Okay,
seed right now or something.
So they'd be on the outside looking in, but they'd be right there. I got to give them a B+. And the reason is, I think you're close with your B- grade, but this team is finding ways to win, even in spite of those things. And because they are finding ways to win, I've got to give them their credit where it's due. I think this is a team that has capability of being an A- team, but they're just not there yet. But because they're finding ways to win, I have to give them that B+ because they've earned it, in my opinion, at this point in time. So that's my opinion. Give them the B+ as an overall team. And most of that's watered down by our D- special teams play.
Yeah, I think, like I said, we're on the right track. I think most of you guys in the chat would agree we're on the way, and we're looking pretty good right now. I'm not sure they're a playoff team yet, but they're on the way, guys. They're going to be pretty close pretty soon. So
according to Cliff, they are the 8th seed right now, which makes them a playoff team at this point in time.
J2K says we can be in first place with a win, tied for first, but still, and the Eagles need to beat the Packers. And again, the Bears do control their own destiny at this point. So if they win games and they continue to play the way they have in these close games and finding a way to get the win, they may very well make the playoffs. They very well could. They do control their own destiny at this point. So they're playing the Giants this week. This is a team where they should. To me, the Giants are an inferior team to the Bears. They should go out and get a win pretty easily. But again, this is one of those games where teams get trapped all the time in these kinds of situations. I don't think this is a staff that's going to let that happen, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't see the Bears finding a way to lose this game. They should win pretty handily, but we're out of time here, guys. We had a great show tonight, giving grades. What's your last thought here, Tim?
Last thing, I don't want to make predictions for the game because I don't like doing that, but I am predicting Darnell Wright will have a pass reception in this game.
That would be interesting
coming
to
out
see
this week.
I mean,
Ben Johnson kind of alluded to it in his press conference this week.
I noticed that he did say something that was a little subliminal there. So I'd be interested to see. I do think Darnell is eventually going to get he's going to get a play at some point or another. I don't know when, but he's going to get some time. He's going to get the ball in his hands. But anyways, guys, like I said, we're out of time here. We had a great show tonight, giving out grades and whatnot. Next week, we'll get more into a typical show where we answer more of your guys' questions and we kind of break down the game from last week and what we expect to see the following. But we wanted to give you guys these grades as an interesting little change of pace, being the fact that, we're in a different spot right now than we have been in several years. So it was a good little show for you guys tonight. We enjoyed it. We had a good time. Like I said, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment and share with us. You can email us at willistwintowerspodcast@gmail.com. Any questions you guys have for us, comments, concerns, anything you want us to talk about on the show, feel free to send us an email. We'll get it. We'll do our best to answer it for you and get it on the show, whatever the case may be. So, thank you for your compliment there, Cliff. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And again, we're here every Friday night for you guys, same time, 8-7 Central. So we'll be back next week. And until then, guys, bear down. We'll see you and have a great weekend.
The Bears.
This is the journey that will never end. New and mightier foes will arise. New adventures will begin. Until then, we bid you farewell.
The Willis Twin Towers podcast is a barroom production. Jeff and Tim Willis are the producers and co-hosts. Aldo Gandia is the director and executive producer. The opening theme music was produced by Tim Willis. Any copywritten material used was under the Fair Use Act for commentary, criticism, and news reporting. This show is also available in audio-only format and can be found wherever you download podcasts. Just search for Barroom Network.